What's happening, guys? This is round 13. This is Life Stories, and this in front of us is a very talented young fighter, Tom Welland. How are you, mate?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, mate. What you been
Good.
up to today, much?
Nothing really, to be fair. Just general stuff, really sorting kit out for next week, getting myself organised, setting myself up for the week. So nothing crazy, just a nice chill day, day off out of the gym, day off out of anything that's too much ag and too much stress. So yeah, just general stuff, really.
Getting ready for the big week in Sunderland.
Exactly
You,
that.
you excited?
Yeah, very excited. Again, it's another fight week. It's another big occasion. It's going to be a very good show. I've heard there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of good fights on this show. So there'll be a lot to live up to, but also it's going to be a good fight week, and yeah, looking forward to it.
The nerves a little bit easier going into this second fight because I can imagine it was quite, your adrenaline was proper pumped for the first show, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, also when it's a debut, and also you sort of come into a different sport. It is a different sport to the amateur game. You feel like you got a lot more to prove, but in reality, you haven't. Like, it's no different. Boxing's boxing. It's no different to fighting as an amateur. It's just another fight. But where it's a pro debut, you do think to yourself, "Well, I've got to impress. I've got to do this." But you don't really need to. Just go out and do what you do. Your boxing does talking from there. So now that I've got that out of my system, then yeah, I think this week can be another step up from a level, and I can tick some more boxes and prove myself a little bit more.
Mate, you're definitely a confident young guy. But if it's all right, let's go back and for the people watching this, find out who Tom Welland is. So, where you from and when was you born?
So I was born in Busden in Essex, and I grew up in Wickford, which is not far from Busden, only about 10 minutes away. But my mum's half Filipino, and my dad's obviously English. So I've always had that Filipino heritage in me. But I'm Essex born and bred. I was born in Essex. I've lived in Essex my whole life. So yeah, that's me. But also I've got that little bit of a Filipino Latin
So,
heritage
was it
as
your mum
well.
who was Filipino?
Yeah, my mum's Filipino. Yeah, so I'm half.
Your dad met her over in England?
Yeah. Everyone's here in England. Everyone's over here. It's much better life over here.
Have you been over there?
Yeah. So when I boxed in the Philippines. I boxed them as an amateur. I lived there for a little while, and then also I used to go every other year for holidays. I still got a lot of family out there. Also, my mum's got her mum, sisters, some my uncles, my aunties, my cousins. Everyone's still out there. Yeah, for my mum's side.
Man, it's lovely out there. Some of the scenery out there, the beaches are great, aren't they?
Mate, if you get out of the city, it's absolutely unbelievable. But also, you've got to remember it is a third world country. So if you're living
Yeah.
in a if you are in the city and the crime rates are high, it's not the best place to be. But if you get out of the cities, then yeah, you're in for some really nice views and some really nice scenery.
But then again, people like yourself can kind of be a role model for that, the kind of poverty that's out there. They can look up to and hopefully see that
100%,
you can go on and do what you want and what you dream of.
definitely.
So you're from Essex. What would you like as a kid? What would you like in your early school years and things like that? Was you an active kid? Was you well behaved? Bit naughty?
I wouldn't say I wasn't really naughty. I sort of just kept myself to myself, like I sort of do now. Really, I'm not. I wasn't too outgoing, but I kept myself to myself and just said something when it needed to be said. Um, I'm sure a lot of my teachers would disagree, but that's what anyway. But I was always very active. I always did some sort of sport. So my dad was very active. My dad used to swim for England. Used to swim with Mark Foster.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so, and he did a bit of boxing later on as well. But yeah, so I was always very active. I played football. I boxed. Obviously, I'm boxing now. I played football. I swam. I used to swim as well. I did loads of different stuff really, but predominantly was football and swimming in my early life. And then as I got to sort of early teenagers, 13, 14, I picked up boxing, and then I stopped doing the other two sports. Just kept
See,
boxing.
that's exactly how I started boxing and football. My dad took me there, and it was kind of it. But I kind of went more football route. What age did you
Yeah.
start both football and boxing? Was it both like under eights? Like, because I was
Yes,
8 years old.
I boxed. I didn't box till I was 13, and I had no interest in boxing until I was about 13. But also, I played football. I can't remember what age. I think I was about 70. Yeah, maybe the under 8s, under 9s, that sort of age. But also, it was just a local team, and my cousin used to play for them as well. So um, he used to play for the same team that I went into. So I used to go and watch him play football on a Sunday morning. We used to go over there at the local park and watch him. And then I was very active anyway. Like I was just to kick a ball around, but I never used to go and play football like sort of like that. Get up on a Sunday morning, go and play football. Um, but yeah, I used to go and watch him, and I thought, you know what, give that a go. I'll be all right. You know, yeah, it's a little bit of running, just kicking a ball around. I'll do that anyway. I might as well just do it properly. And I was kicking balls around at school in school anyway, so I was like, you know what, I'll join the team. So I joined the team, and I did sort of local Sunday league for 3 or 4 years. And then I did a couple of academies. So I played in the Arsenal academy for about
Oh,
6 months.
nice.
Yeah, so I played there
You're
for about
decent.
six
You're
months.
decent then.
Yeah, I was all right. I wasn't bad. So I
Must
played
have
there
been
for
a
about 6
striker, a quick little striker or something.
I was a winger. I used to play right winger. I used to because of my work rate and how fit I was. It used to get me just tracking back and going up. I was up and down. More of a right wing back really. I was just up and down, up
No,
and
it's
down all
quite
the time.
funny. You quite find even the people I know, a lot of boxers in an early life were people who played football. It's a weird connection that the kind of two sports have, isn't
I've
it?
noticed this. Yeah, I've noticed this, and also when I do my strength conditioning, I do it with a lot of footballers. We sort of do it together, so we sort of work the same muscle groups. So it's
I think it's been
similar
around
with
for years, and I don't know how it happens. I mean, I love Curtis Woodhouse. Look, I love his story. I love what he was a Sheffield United player, went on to a British title. But there's just a connection that's always been there, and I love it.
it's really strange. It's really really strange. But yeah, anyway, I boxed for. Sorry, I played football for Arsenal for about 6 months when I was about 11, 10, 11. And then when I was at Arsenal, I had Cambridge Academy were sort of rocking around, and I wasn't signed to Arsenal or anything like that. I just trained with their academy, played a couple of games for them. And then Cambridge came along and they were like, "Oh, we'd like to offer you a contract." I was like, "All right." I didn't really think anything of it at the time. I was just playing football. I wasn't really watching any football. I was just playing it because I like playing it. And then, but when they came asking for a contract, I was a bit like, "Oh, that sounds pretty serious." I should really sort of sit down and think about it, really. So I went over there and I didn't sign a contract. I just did what I did at Arsenal. Really, I just played for them. I just sat down and spoke to the coaches, and all I did was just trained and played for every now and then. And alongside still playing Sunday league football, I was still playing for I played for Ilford EJA at the time, and also Hornchurch EJA. I was sort of back and forth in the EJA teams while playing in the Cambridge Academy. And then after that, when I got to 13, so I was in the under 14 squad. They wanted to offer me an actual contract. They were like, "Listen, you can't play unless you sign a contract now." And I was like, "All right, sweet. Now let's have a look." And it was the FA Youth League contract. So it was the first paid league, the first professional league. I'm sort of sitting there thinking, "Oh my god, I want to go pro straight away at 13." And I was already playing sort of 2 years up, 2 years above my age. And then I thought, yeah, so if you sign this contract, you're playing in the under 18s. I think I was 13 years old at the time. Like, I can't play in the under 18s. But then they said to me, "Look, if you're going to do that, you are small." I was always naturally a bit smaller anyway, even for my age. They were like, "Listen, you are a bit small. Go and get some strength conditioning, and let's go and get you strong, and then we'll go from there." And I was like, "Yeah, sweet, no worries." But in my own, I'm thinking, where do I get strength conditioning from? I didn't know where to get that from. I didn't know what it was. Didn't know anything about it. I just went to the local gym. I was, you know, I was doing that. Go to the local gym, and they was like, "No, we need football specific strength conditioning." So I was like, "Oh, all right." Then I thought to myself, then I was doing a little bit of boxing in. We had like a log cabin in my garden, like a little cabin where me and my dad would do like just mess around. So I went down to a local boxing shop, just around the corner from where I lived, just to get a new pair of boxing gloves. And I explained to him why I was getting boxing gloves, and I need to do a bit of strength conditioning for football. And he went, "You know what? I own a boxing club literally just around the corner, and it was only literally behind where I lived." And he was like, and I said to him, and I was like, "Do you know what?" And my dad never ever wanted me to box. He never took me boxing where it was a brutal sport, and he didn't want
Yeah.
his son to do it, whatever. He didn't want him to do it. And I thought, "You know what? If you're not going to take me boxing, that's fine. I'll take myself." I was at that age now, walking. I was taking
Did you
myself
know?
to
Did
school.
he know that you went, or did you sneak there?
No, he did know. Actually, I say that the first couple of times he was at work, I took myself there. But he did know later on. But I was at that age where I was taking myself to school. I was going out with my mates after school, and it wasn't that much of a big deal to walk to the boxing club. So
Nah.
I sort of snapped the first couple of times while he was at work. I took myself over to the boxing club. And my mum knew where I was going. But I took myself to the boxing club. My mum sort of kept it a secret from him as well. And then later on, I had to tell him. But yeah, and and then from then on, I boxed. I boxed and played football at the same time. I won my first national championship in my first year as an amateur. And then I sort of said to myself, "Then, you know what? I don't even want to play football no more." Didn't sign the contract, just kept boxing.
So you kind of did instantly there. That was your love of boxing done. You
Yes,
instantly
from then
chose. You,
on.
you knew that's where you wanted to be.
Yeah, definitely.
And
And then
how
obviously
old was you then? How old was you then when that happened?
I'd have been 13, 14, something like that.
So as a teenager, did that kind of ground you? What would you like with your mates? Because I know as a teenager, like you, my boxing club was literally 5 doors away. But I kind of give up young, and I kind of went out with my mates drinking. Was you? And I wish I hadn't, but I did. Was you not like that? Did it keep you on the straight and narrow?
Yeah, it did. Like I was never. I mean, even now, I'm not one to sort of just go out and just go out for the sake of it and be in the wrong, be in the wrong places with the wrong crowds. But even regardless, when I was at school, my mates, like you would like you had people in our school that would obviously you get everywhere. You just go out there, get pissed in fields and whatever that sort of
Yeah.
age, and just go out drinking later on. But I was always, I only had a small friend group. I just sat. We always just came indoors. We played on the PlayStation together. We went to school. I went to boxing, and that was literally all we did. We went to school. I went to boxing. They played on the PlayStation. That was it.
You
And
never let women distract you either, then, because you're a young,
nah,
good-looking guy, so there was no women that distracted you.
nah, not at that time. I probably wasn't that good looking then, to be honest.
Have you just
But
improved as you got older?
I might have done. Yeah, I might have come out of my shell a little bit. I might have just let myself go. No, I'm joking. No, yeah, I just weren't that interested. I was always had a passion for sports in general, whether it was
Yeah.
boxing, football, swimming. I never really had an interest for anything else. And whenever I wasn't boxing, the obsession that I had for boxing at the time, if I wasn't in the gym, I was watching boxing. I do it now. If I'm not in the gym, I'm watching boxing. I rarely watch anything else. I mean, my missus now always complains to me, "Oh, why are we watching this again?" I watch the same fights over and over and over again. So you
Who would
always
you be
think,
watching when you was growing up? Who was the ones that you first started watching when you got into it?
when I first started watching,
Yeah.
it was a time when Lomachenko was first like coming through. I think he just taken his loss,
Mate,
and I was
that
really
was crazy when he first come through. His first, was it his second fight? He won the world title.
his second fight he boxed. I can't remember the geezer's name.
It was Kovalek. Was it something like that? Kotelnik? Was it Kotelnik or someone like that?
Yeah, he was South American. I can't remember his name. I haven't watched that fight in a while. Actually,
Mate, no, he was.
When I was watching boxing, people with the boxing club like, oh, this geezer was obviously 2012 Olympia. It's just got look at this. Oh, that's unbelievable. Like I go and sit down and watch that. And then I realised I realised when he took his second loss, I was so disheartened. I was actually really upset. I was like, I can't believe he's lost. So I can't believe it. And I was more disheartened than that. And everyone was looking at me. All my mates looking at me and like, what are you doing? No, look at it. Like, yeah, but I don't know where it is. And the obsession that I had for boxing, it did just fuel it did just fuel my obsession for it later on.
Yeah.
Even now, I sit down and you watch the same fights over and over and over again, and you watch the same boxers over and over and over again, and you just sit there and watch them. And yeah,
So what about Manny? Was Manny one that you looked at when you were young, or was he someone you looked at later on?
No, I always watched Manny. I always watch Manny. I mean, my mum being Filipino, even when I wasn't boxing, my mum would sit up and watch Manny anyway. Even when I wasn't boxing, so I always watched Manny. I knew who Manny Pacquiao was even when I wasn't boxing.
Was your old man a big boxing fan?
Yeah, my dad loves boxing. He loves
so
Manny
you used
Pacquiao.
to watch it with him when you were younger and that?
Yeah. I used to sit down. Me and my dad used to put on old Tyson clips. Even when I wasn't boxing, I used to watch it and be like, yeah, it's quite good, but I'm not that interested. I wasn't interested at the time. So I was like, I knew I must have something there because I would sit there and watch it with him for hours. I didn't get up and leave. I would just sit and watch it for him. But I was like, yeah, it's good, but it's like, I'm not that interested. It was a bit like that. But the Manny Pacquiao I used to watch for hours.
Yeah.
Even when
he's an absolute ridiculous, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Even when I wasn't boxing, I could sit there and watch it for hours. I mean, I knew when I was playing football how hard it was to have speed, right? Even in your legs, in your hands, had to be that strong and to be that powerful. And then even for someone who wasn't really a boxing fan at the time, to sit and watch back, I was like, man, he's quick. Just sitting there and thinking, oh my God, how can he be that quick? And
do you know what? I love him. That one night I did hate him. When he done Hatton that night, that was one of the worst nights of my life. I ain't going to lie. That I nearly cried. But I think when I see what he done to De La Hoya, I think then he was just great. He was great.
Even then, obviously, I don't remember it. But when you listen to the Cotto Margarito story, and then you see what Hatton done, what Pacquiao done to Margarito afterwards, you just think, oh, what a hero! You just think, what an absolute saving. He was sent by God.
He's definitely a good role model for people like yourself to look up to. That's for sure. So what about your amateur record? How many fights do you have? How many fights before?
I had about 15. I lost 4. So I boxed a few times for England. I boxed especially my last season. I boxed 17 times internationally in 4 different countries before I went pro. I went and boxed for the Philippines in their Olympic squad over there. I'm technically still with them. There is talk of me going back to the World Championship in February to possibly qualify for the next Olympic. But yeah, so I had a good amateur record.
So what happened with the turning pro? Because obviously you're still quite young, and you could have probably gone to the next Olympics or something like that. Why so early, and what made you turn pro?
There was obviously I saw England, the GB, I did not see straight through them, but they sort of made they made their opinion known to me, what they really thought of me, really, in not taking me. They didn't give me any chances. They didn't put me in anything, even though I was the best kid in the country. I
Yeah.
won multiple national championships. I was on paper the best kid in the country, and I wasn't given any opportunities. And they gave me one opportunity, almost to just shut me up. And they put me in there at a weight that was lower. I'd never been 50. I was boxing at 54 kilos, and I've always boxed at 57 or 60. So I'd never made that weight before. But in my head, it felt like they gave me the opportunity just to say, well, we gave it to him, he didn't make the weight, that's his fault. And I was determined to make the weight. I made the weight, and I went to Wales, and I beat the Commonwealth Games bronze medalist on his home turf unanimously. So I knew what level I was boxing at.
Yeah.
And that was the first. That was the first time I boxed for England. I hadn't boxed for England before then. So they put me in at Commonwealth level, and I beat him on his home ground in his home stadium, with predominantly Welsh judges.
Is it comfortable? Do you do a number on him?
Yeah, I done a proper number on him. He's actually quite a nice kid. I know him. I speak to him a lot now, but I did do a number on him. I did do a number on him that day, and England knew that. And from then on, I didn't get any opportunities whatsoever. But I was lucky enough that I boxed in Sweden in the King of the Ring. I got best youth over there. I then went to the round robin as my first tournament as an elite. I won the round robin, boxed on Swedish TV, got the best elite boxer over there. That was the first time I knocked someone out cold. And then from then on, after that, there was talk from the Philippines. They did get in contact, but it was all sort of tongue in cheek. I didn't really think anything of it. So I was like, obviously they're interested in it. It's something that I'd love to do because I've really represented two countries. And to go back, and the Filipinos are very nationalistic. They love their sporting heroes, and they love their sporting athletes. So it's another thing that I'd love to do. But it was all sort of tongue in cheek, and it seemed a million miles away. But I showed my interest back, and they were very quick to go, right, we want to get the ball rolling. Let's get this sorted. I was like, all right, let's see what we can do. And then before I knew it, I was over in the Philippines boxing for the Philippines. So yeah,
I bet you were buzzing when you got over there and you was representing the country. I bet that feeling was something else, wasn't it?
It was unbelievable just to be over there, and you are treated like the professional boxing is not a big thing as much as you think it is. The professional boxers that come out of the Philippines all go to America. And they don't stay in the Philippines. So their athletes are the amateur boxers. They're basketball players. They're very much idolised in the Philippines. But the boxers, especially, obviously from the Manny Pacquiao connection and everything else. But we were treated like royalty in the Philippines. There's nothing that I did feel like a celebrity in the Philippines. We literally couldn't go anywhere without getting mobbed. It was crazy, and it was just we were kept in this compound where you weren't allowed. Like you had to have strict access. You had to have strict permission, even just to go to the laundry just to wash your clothes. You had to.
I bet you felt like royalty, didn't you?
It was crazy, absolutely mad. And they had big wooden gates, they had big gates, big metal gates, and they had big it was an army compound. It was a military compound, and we were kept in the middle. And a big running track in the middle. So every morning we're on the running track. You then go back. You go to your shifts, and you get your breakfast, then you go training. You then have lunch, and then you have maybe a little bit of downtime. Then you have a little bit more food, and then you go and train again. It was crazy out there.
That's why you turned pro, mate. You wanted to carry on that lifestyle, wasn't it? You saw a bit of that, and you wanted to carry it on.
Maybe, who knows? But no, it was a very different experience out there. And obviously, we don't as amateurs in the UK, we don't get that treatment because we're just like we don't get amateurs here. We don't get paid for it. They get paid for it out there. It's all because you want to do it. And don't get me wrong, they all want to do it out there. And anything, they want to do it because they're fighting to get out of poverty. Right?
Yeah, they've got a lot more to fight for, haven't they? Let's be real.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
People in this country have got a lot more opportunities, whether in a standard everyday life. They need something to kind of move on from and better their lives, don't they? And I love that people like you are representing people like that, and they look up to that. I love it. I really do.
Oh, it's brilliant. And do you know what? Even the boys that I box with over there, I speak to almost every day. Every day, regardless of the time difference, I will speak to almost every single one of them every single day. And the amount of people that they go, "Oh, Tom, we'd love to come over to the UK and go pro. We'd love to do what you're doing," and everything else is a joke. And you can't. You can try and help them all, but also if you haven't, you can't do it all. You know, it's hard for the Philippines. It's hard for the Philippines if you can't fund it, and they can't. Trying to come to a first world country coming from the Philippines is, I mean, they'll have to cut off an arm and a leg to get over it. you know. So it's hard.
So obviously, I can see your thoughts on the difference between the Filipino and the English scene, but I want to go off subject a little bit. Another fellow countryman of yours, I've seen you photographed with recently, is Salt Pappy.
Yeah.
What's that all about, and what are you making of this new influencer scene? And what's your relationship with Salt Pappy, and where did that come from?
So obviously us Filipinos, we do get everywhere. The Filipinos get where we can't. I think, to be honest. So we're sort of everywhere, and there's a few of us that are on the they do that the influencer boxing. So obviously you've got Salt Pepper, like you mentioned. There's also Small Smart and Jay Chris.
Yeah.
And Jane Bunker, another one.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
on love. She does it as well. We're all quite close, and obviously there's a few of us pros on me as well. Yusuf Kamari. Yeah, so there's a few of us around, and that sort of Filipino circle. We just support each other really. Like obviously, I've got no interest in influencer boxing because I do like they're my friends, but I wouldn't watch it unless Salt Pappy is fighting, or unless James fighting, or unless Andrew James, unless AJ's fighting. So,
I mean, it's definitely a controversial topic amongst the purists, but I mean, I've been one. It's definitely bringing different bums to seats, and even a newer generation. It's for me. Hopefully, it's going to bring their eyes to boxing and turn over to people like you lot. That's my hope, and I think it can do that.
100%. I think any exposure for the sport is good. It is good exposure. So, if they put bums on seats, and that's all you can ask for. But also, whether it's the right boxing, it's not for me to say. Like it's not my place. I wouldn't personally watch it if there was no one there that I knew, I wouldn't watch it. Simple as that.
So it's for Salt Pepper. You're there for Salt. You're there for Salt.
Literally there for Salt. Yeah, it's the Filipino heritage.
So this so obviously moving on, you went into the program. You went with Sowlands and Wasserman. What made you go with them? And was it just them that was chasing you, or did you have other people sniffing around, other meetings and things like that?
Well, I had a lot of meetings, so I'd had a meeting scheduled with Frank Warren, but in the end we thought better off that. I wasn't. Like there was something with Frank Warren that didn't tick the right boxes for me. Well, I did sit down with Benny Hearn a few times with Frank Smith at Matchroom on the Sonny Edwards Campos fight week. We went and done. I was there, and I stayed in the fight week hotel, and I was in and out of meetings with them all the time. So I was there, but it was just saying, and I was seeing Wasserman a lot more than I was seeing anyone else. I was back and forth from their offices a lot more than I was seeing Matchroom. But it was only I didn't have any meetings with Sky Sports and Boxer. I wasn't that interested in Sky Sports, to be honest with you. I'm not that much of a fan. But the ones that appealed to me the most were Matchroom and Wasserman, to be fair. But there was just something about Wasserman that just ticked the right boxes for me, and I think I'm in good hands. And the deal they offered me was great, and they knew my certain needs, which I needed with the Filipino thing, and being able to go back as an amateur if I want to, if that opportunity came. They were very much on the same page as me, so that was all I was looking for. So yeah, I was quite happy to go with the Sound.
I think it's a good option. I mean, it's on terrestrial TV, Channel 5. They've got quite a long deal with them as well, haven't they? So I think you've got potential to get a good bit of exposure. And like I say, you're good on telly, so I think if you keep on winning, I think it's a good opportunity with Wasserman. I mean, I think 100%. They're going in a good direction.
Yeah, definitely. I think Wasserman itself, right now, is a building. It's obviously it's a work in progress, but it's very, very much everything's a work in progress. Matchroom's still work in progress. You're never not done. You're never not done, right? So obviously with the Sky, with the Channel 5, and obviously Wasserman have the Zone deal. I'm fighting on the Zone next weekend, you know. So and I was on the Zone internationally for my debut. Like you could have watched me on the Zone if you was outside UK and Ireland. So that again, that's a good thing. But in terms of exposure for me, it's no different to being with Matchroom. I get the exact same exposure. I get exactly what I would have got with Matchroom, just with a different name and a different stable, which is completely fine for me. And also the stable's it's not as big as Matchroom, so you get a little bit more time, you get a lot more effort put into you, get a lot more thought. And to be honest, I quite like that, to be honest. I'm not.
It's probably more personal, isn't it? I mean, not that Eddie Hearn isn't personal with his fighters, but I find a smaller stable, I think the connection you're going to grow is stronger than you would when there's so many people around you.
Definitely, and also
the bond's going to grow bigger, isn't it? Let's be real. It's going to.
The stable will get bigger. The stable will get bigger, and I know they are looking to grow, which you would. It's a company, right? They're looking to make as much money as possible. So you would look to grow. But right now, at this time, it was a good place for me, and yeah, they know what I need, and they're very on the same page as me, which is great.
What about how much has your life changed from being an amateur, being a youngster, and then going into the professional training regimes, as you like, and picking a trainer? How are you still with the same person? Did you go a different route? Oh, so you're still with your amateur trainer?
So I do work with my trainer a lot still, and I know he's coming to helping the corner for my next fight in Sunderland. So that's obviously it's a good back to my roots, back to where it all started for me, and obviously that's where I sort of broke through with him as well. So it's nice. It's nice.
Have you got anyone else in camp with you, or any other trainers?
No, so right now it's just me and Will Jones. I do see Sablio, who was my old, obviously my old trainer at the time as an amateur, but I do see him a lot, and he's not really my old trainer. I don't really have a head trainer. Obviously I do on paper, but I see them both, and they both put their effort into me. So you could call it a co-trainer.
And what's your life like now? Difference? Is it constant? Are you day to day now? That's your life, boxing every day, training. What's your day to day life like now, and how has it changed?
You know what? Honestly, I never worked before, even when I was an amateur. I was lucky enough to have sponsors that kept me going. I have very supportive parents, so they kept me going, and it allowed me to do exactly what I wanted to do, and pursue what I wanted to pursue in boxing. So I was very lucky from that aspect. So I always trained twice a day, regardless. Then there were some days, even when I was an amateur, I was doing 3 times a day if I had to fit everything in. Obviously, I was training with Will Jones in the mornings and doing my strength conditioning downstairs in the same gym, and then also then going to my amateur sessions in the evening with Sab. So you could argue I was actually training more as an amateur, because now I'm not training in the evenings with Sab anymore. So I get my 2 sessions a day, but it's still very packed out of all the recovery, keeping sponsors happy, seeing the sponsors, building relationships with them, sorting all the kit out and everything else. It's still
there's a lot more commitments with pro boxing than there is amateur, and the sponsorship
100%.
deals and everything like that. That's the only
100%.
downfall I find with you. Like with you guys, you want to just be really boxing and fighting and learning in the gym, but you have to commit to these other things, don't you? To be a part of what you want to do. It's a part of boxing now.
Yeah, it's not even. People look at boxing, you'll be just getting in and fight. Yeah, but what about everything else that leads up to just getting in there and fight? You've got to sort your kit out. You've got to sort your trainer. You've got to have a good relationship with them, your manager, your promoters. If you've got a promoter, or even the people, you've got to sell tickets. Sometimes you've got to do everything else that's around it. And if you don't do that, you can't fight. Simple as that. So it's not just you don't just get in the ring and fight. People get that completely. And you hear it a lot when people say, "Yeah, but all you do is get in there and you do what you love." Yeah, I do what I love, but also it's very stressful outside. Everything else is very, very, very stressful. So it's not for the faint-hearted.
No, it's not. So obviously you got your fight coming up. Have you been in a long camp? How long have you been in the camp for the one that's coming up next week?
Well, it's only a month in between my first and my second fight, so it's just a continued camp really. Obviously, I only did 4 rounds, which is no different to being an amateur. We just one more round. And if I was an amateur, I wouldn't even think twice. I'd just get straight back in the gym the day after. But obviously, you have a mad adrenaline rush after the whole week, and you just have a mad downfall. So I had the weekend off, and I straight back in the gym Monday, sparring Archie Sharp and Will Crawley that Monday. And then I was back. Yeah, very good sparring, very, very good sparring. So I was straight back in. I'm not really had any time off. I'm just straight back in. There was always.
Go on.
So there was always a potential date for December 16th. I only got confirmed about 2 weeks, 16 days ago. So there was always talk. Even after my debut, they were going, "Listen, we want to get you out December 16th." So I knew I had to get straight back in the gym in case that news came. So I did.
So is that kind of your plan for this year? Just stay fit for the first year. I mean, stay fit and get in as many fights as you can, and just learn. And what's your plan going forward for this first year? What's your goals?
So obviously, I am contracted to a certain amount of fights, but also I know that they're going to get me out as much as possible. I know they're keen for me to get out as much as possible. And there is already 3 or 4 days penciled in for the new year. I know one of them being very early in the new year, so I will keep fit. And I'm never not in the gym anyway. To be fair, I don't do anything else. I don't work. I don't do anything else. I do just box. So if I'm not boxing, I'm sitting at home doing nothing, getting bored. So I will just stay in the gym. Just even if I'm not training, I will end up being in the gym, and then I'll end up training if I'm not. So it's just one of them. I'll always will be in the gym and always be staying fit and keep.
And you'll be ready when they call you.
Yeah, 100%.
Are your dreams the same as pretty much every boxer? Is it the goal to be a world champion, or do you want to go the traditional route and go the British, the Commonwealth, the European? What are the routes you want to go? Because I know you come into boxing early purely because a lot of people were saying your style was good for their pro game, and I know you said yourself you was ready. So are you going to try and move forward quick, or are you going to do it the traditional way? And what do you want to do?
you know what? It's something that me and my manager have sat down and spoke about this a few times, and my coach. But do you know what? I'm actually not that fast. Whichever way
You'll
they think,
take whatever comes.
whichever way they think is best for me, then I'll go. I'm not asked. I'll go whichever way. So if they think the Southern area route and the English route's the best for me, I'll go down that way. If they want to sort of fast track me into maybe going for an international title or a European, then I'll go that way. It doesn't make a difference for me. I'm fighting, I'm fit, doesn't matter. And whichever way I go it's the same goal, to be a world champion and to win world titles at multiple different weights.
The world championships is the ultimate goal. That's where you want to be.
Yeah, definitely.
The next Manny Pacquiao person who's going to lead that Filipino charge.
Definitely. Obviously, it's not just being at eight weights is maybe a bit of an ask.
Yeah.
We'll give it a go. To be honest, even a Nonito Donaire 4-weight world champion could be quite a big ask. But listen, there's no reason why no one else can't do it. Everyone's human at the end of the day. If someone's done it, Manny Pacquiao's done it, so why can't I do it? So we'll give it a go.
Do you know what? I'm not going to just waste time talking about pointless stuff. I think on that note, we'll call it a night. I appreciate the time that you've given me. I'm hoping I'm going to be the person in 10 years to be sat doing this again with you when you've got belts round your waist. Because I'll be there following your career. You'll be getting all the work that I do send to you. And listen, mate, good luck next week. Hopefully I'll see you there. And yeah, mate, let's just go.
Thank you very much. Thank you for speaking to me. Thank you.
Tom Welland, guys, I hope you enjoyed.